Hello and welcome to my video on one of my Python tutorials. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to SQLite. So for those who've never done SQL, SQL is structured query language, which is a language we use to create tables and make queries from tables in the context of databases. So Python provides two popular interfaces for when you work with SQLite database library. There's PySQLite and then there's APSW. So each interface targets a set of different needs. So SQL is the main language that large database packages use. SQLite is a free software that we can use as an SQL database. So for those who want to do it, you can download the latest version of the software from www.sqlite.org. Okay, before we begin, please remember to like, subscribe and share my video. But let's get into it. So, the basics. So it's good to go through the basics on what each aspect of code does before we do the first task. Okay? So, the first line we have to have is import SQLite 3. So that you have to have that first line of the program to allow Python to use the library. And then the next part is with SQLite 3 Connect. So you're connecting to the company database. If a database isn't there, it's created, and then the file is stored in the same folder as the program. Where you've got cursor execute, it's going to create a table. So in this case, it will create an employees table, which has the 4 fields there. It then specifies the data type of each field, which field is the primary key, and which cannot be left blank. So if you see not null, it means it has to be filled. If you see nothing or null, you can leave it blank. If you see triple speech marks, those marks allow the code to be split over several lines to make it easy for the reader to read it rather than having to have it displayed all in one line. If you see the DB commit or DB execute, same way to insert into, that's going to just insert values into the table. If you see DB commit and then DB commit, that inserts data into the table. And the DB commit line saves the changes we've made. We can, however, make the user input values in, and then the question marks and the variables after that will indicate that the values inserted is based on our user input. So this is where we're going back to Python, type in our inputs, and then it goes into SQL, and it'll insert what we've inputted just now. And that will allow you to enter new data, which is inserted into the table. If you see cursor select all from employee, and then print for cursor fetch call, you're displaying all the data in the table. DB close, that has to be the last line in the program, which will close the database. If you see the same line, select all from employee and cursor execute, and then for X in cursors fetch all, you're displaying all the data from the employees table and displaying each record on a separate line. If we were to use the same code and add an order by name, it's going to sort it out by name. And there's lots of other things we can do with this code. So you can have a where clause, so it's going to find that the salary is over £20,000. Cursor execute select from employees where department is sales. It's going to have everyone in the employee table where the department is sales. And so on and so forth. So we can do quite a lot of things there. What we can also do, we can do cursor execute select employee ID, employee name. So this is the joins. So we can select the ID and the name fields from the employee table and the manager field from the department table if the salary is over £20,000. So that is literally a snapshot of all the different things we can do in SQL. But I am going to go into a task, and this code is going to be based on the first four. So we need to copy that code in. Okay? So I'm going to copy this code in. So I'm going to predict what it's going to do. Let's just have a look at our code. So I think this code is going to insert all these values into our database. I'm going to press run. Database is made and the content is outputted. So that's that bit done there. Okay? So we've predicted what the code is going to do and we've ran it to see what it actually does. Okay, let's investigate this, shall we? What would happen if we decided to add another record? I could just add another record. That looks like this. So I would type insert into salesman values. So I'm going to do 5006. And I'm going to say Dubai because that's where I am fixing on going. And then I'm going to do 1.21. Go here. Semicolon. Okay, if I try to run it, it won't actually show that because the My Database table already exists. So if we're going to run it to show all of these values again, we have to go to those three dotted yellow lines, right click, and we need to find the delete button. So it's going to ask you, right, do I want to delete it? You just click yes. File's gone. Let's run it again. Hey! And you can see the database has been created again and it's added the extra value. So we've just investigated that. Okay, I'm going to modify this code now, which will allow the users to insert values to a table from user input. So, what do we do then? So, let's say I'm going to try and do something like this. To save time, I'm just going to copy and paste that in. So, the idea is we could just do those variables. So instead of having the values, you will notice you've got question marks instead of the values. Okay? So what we need to do is SID equals input. It needs to be single quotes this time. And we're going to type in salesman ID. That's the first one. Then what we need to do, salesman name, do that as an input, and just put name. Okay? And then what we do now is we need to do S city, input city, and then we are going to do S commission equals input commission. Okay, so that's what we got so far. So what we need to do now is we need to go into that execute function. After we've done the insert into and the ending of the triple brackets, we need to do a comma, another set of brackets, and we're going to type S ID, S name, S city, S commission. So I'm going to delete that just to make sure. I'm going to run that. I'm going to do 1 over 1. And there we go. We have just inserted another value in the database based on our own input there. Okay. So let's see what we've done so far. So we've predicted the first code, we ran it, we've investigated it by adding another record. Now we've modified it to allow us to have that user input there. Okay? So that's that done. Now, number 5, this is the kicker. We need to make a program where we need to create a database file which has the following fields for the user to input. So you need your first name, surname, age, favorite location, and we've got to add 3 records. We need to alter the code so that the database is created if the file has not been made, and the user of the program can input the data, which is stored in variables before it's inserted into the database. Sounds like a big long one there. So you would definitely do import SQLite 3. That's a defo. What I am going to do is I'm going to show you what else we do after that. So this is all the stuff we would need. So this is what we would need to do. So we're going to import SQLite 3. From SQLite, you're importing the error. We've got a subroutine called SQL connection, and we're creating a database called students. And if it exists, it's going to print an error. Then we've got the SQL table, and then in that, I've decided you can do, as we need to do 3 records, we need to do a for loop. So you could do a loop. So you could do a records variable. How many records do we want? So we did a range of 0 to records, because you might want to do 3 records, 4 records, etc. So what the for loop's going to do is it's going to ask for that set of details as many times as you put. So say I want to do 3 times, it's going to ask you to do it 3 times. And then it inserts the records 3 times, or however many we choose. Then we're going to select. And then after showing the rows, we come out of that for loop and out of that subroutine. So I'm going to show you how it works. So we're going to run it. Right, how many records do we want? I want 3. Student ID 101. Oh no, I'm going to stop that because I have done an error there. Right, let's try that. So I'm going to do 3, 101, go, Cardiff, 34. That's 1. Next one, 102. Making a bit fun. This one, 103. Right, I put city by mistake, but never mind. So, anyway, it's inserted 3 records based on the fact that I've typed in 3 and it's inputting 3 and it's allowing me to input input these attributes 3 times. If I wanted to do it 4 times, I can do just that. If I want to do 5, I can do just that. However many times we actually need to do it. The reason why I could have gone through typing it all together bit by bit, but it would take too long to do because it is a big bit of code. So I will show you this code for brevity, so you can type it all in should you feel the need to. So we've got the import SQLite 3. From there we're importing the error. And then we've got the subroutine SQL connection that's going to connect. And then in the SQL table, that is where the magic happens. That's where we're inputting our data in Python. And in SQL, it's doing all the inserting and the table creation for you. And in Python, it's outputting the table itself in that SQL table. And out of there, got the SQLite con, which is SQL con, which is equal to calling the subroutine SQL connection. And then you got SQL table, which is calling the SQLite con, so it's calling that other subroutine. It's calling this instance, and if it's there, which it is, if we've done everything, it's going to close, and that is the nutshell of the program that we've made for task 5 based on what's called PRIMM. So PRIMM stands for predict, run, investigate, modify, make. So the idea of this video, particularly these tasks, is PRIMM's pedagogy is a way of showing an example of good working code, so you can try and do it. So in a hope that you can try and do it properly and learn it quick. So that's the idea behind those 5 tasks. Okay. It is a lot to get. It is a lot. It does look like a lot, but once you start doing it more and more and more, it's going to be second nature. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, subscribe and share, and I look forward to making the next video with you. Goodbye for now.